Hi there, this is Unmesh from Piximperfect, and today I'm going to share with you how to turn grey hair dark with Photoshop. Now, I think grey hair looks amazing. It looks classy, smart, and mature. However, if looking younger is the goal, this is how to do it in Photoshop. So without any further ado, let's get started. Back in the magical world of Photoshop, and if you want to go ahead and download this photo and follow along, you already know what to do. Check the links in the description. Now, when it comes to turning white to black or black to white in Photoshop, it's one of the most challenging things to do. In fact, I do have a video about turning white to black. However, when it comes to hair, it's nearly impossible. There might be a way to do it, but it's going to take you a lot of effort. It's much easier to composite a new hair onto it. So, you would have to find an image which is similar, has similar lighting, and probably has a similar face structure which can be adjusted to an extent, and then just simply composite it. This is a person of a lighter skin tone, and also the light is coming from the left and the right as well. On the right hand side, there's a kind of rim lighting, not that much of a rim lighting, but there's a slight light, and most of the light is coming from the left hand side. Now keep in mind, lights can be inversed. All we need to find out is that on one side we have a slight light, and on the other side we have a light probably from around at about 45 degrees. So let's go to our Finder or Explorer. I found an image similar to this one. Let's check it out. Have a look. Even in this case, most of the light is coming from the left hand side. Now keep in mind, we can always invert it vertically. However, in this case, it's already on point. This one is at about 45 degrees. We have a light from the back. It's perfect. So let's drag it and drop it over the canvas right here. Now I'm going to keep it the way it is. The head is a little too big. Hit enter or return. We're going to adjust that later. But first we need to make sure that the hair is properly selected. So with this image layer selected, which I've already named dark hair, we're going to choose any selection tool and then directly go to select and mask. We will change the view to on black. What happens when we are on black is that when the opacity is at 100%, everything that is selected shows up and everything that is not selected turns absolutely black. Right now, nothing is selected. Therefore, everything is absolutely black. Now, when you have the opacity at 0, everything shows up irrespective of whatever is selected or not. So I'm going to keep it at about 71%. That's fine. Now, with the help of the quick selection tool at the very top, we will just select the hair. The head selection is fine. That is just what we care about. We don't care about the entire face. I don't want to sound rude. I just am talking logically. Alright, let's go ahead and choose the second one, which is the refine edge. You can go ahead and increase the opacity a little more and then just paint around the edges. Now as you can see, most of the hair is selected. We didn't do a pretty good job of selecting the hair. We can always take the time to do it properly. But anyway, you can always take the brush tool and directly paint over it. Whatever you paint over will be selected. However, you can always hold the Alt key or the Option key and paint to subtract it. So I'm just going to paint over certain areas that I want to be included. All right. Now you can take all the time in the world to find the perfect image for this man. All right, this looks okay. Now once you're satisfied, just make sure that the output is output to layer mask. Hit OK. Now we will select the layer and then press Ctrl or Command T. Now adjust it. It's simple. Adjust it and place it over this guy. Now find a matching point. So this is the side of the head of the younger man, right? Have a look. We need to match that with that of the older man. And here's how we do it. Ctrl or Command T. Just match that side. You don't have to be accurate. While the transform controls are still available, this is the trick. You would hold the Alt key or the Option key and click there. The anchor point will move there. Also make sure this is checked so that it shows up. Now what will happen is whenever you rotate, it will rotate along that axis. And also whenever you make it larger by holding the Alt key, it will make it larger around that axis, which is super cool. Now it touches this. The top is still not covered. No problem at all. We're going to take care of that later. Hit enter or return. We have to adjust the hair accordingly. And for that, we can always use Liquify. So let's go to filter and then Liquify. Now inside of Liquify, let's just zoom in first and then we want to see the original image. So just scroll down and make sure show backdrop is checked and what layer you want to see. You can see all layers or only the background layer and then you can just control the opacity of how much of it you want to see. So I want to see just a little bit of it so that I can see the boundary of the gray hair, and then we will extend it slowly and gradually. With the forward warp tool, shortcut is W. Let's scroll up. You can always control the pressure as to how much you want to move. Our job is to slowly and gradually nudge. Now, we're going to scroll back down, and then if you want, you can just increase the opacity and control the style of the hair. Just make sure it looks realistic. Well, that's pretty reasonable. Just hit OK. Now we have the hair, but the problem is the hair moved. The mask did not. Oh no, what to do? We should have merged it. Just hold the Alt key or the Option key, click on the mask, and then go to Filter and click on that liquify again. The very first one, so it will apply the last effects. So it's going to read the mesh data, apply that again. So now, hold the Alt key or the Option key, click on the mask, and boom, you are ready now. At this moment, it looks crazy, but we don't want to disturb this mask. We want to create a mask of this mask, and how to do that? Well, just put it inside a group. So select the dark hair layer and press Ctrl or Command G. Now it is inside a group, and one of the greatest advantages of a group is what? It can have its own mask. So with the group selected, click on the mask button right there, and then simply take the brush, and from here you know what to do. Just select a soft round brush and then start painting with black on the areas that you do not need and reveal the original face. There you are. Now I know at the moment it looks crazy. Now you can take all the time in the world again to get it perfect, to get the frames and everything perfectly done. Now I know at the moment the head looks absolutely crazy, so we need to go back and adjust it. But instead of having to go back and just play with the mask and do all of that messy stuff, here's what I would suggest. You turn that into a smart object, right click on it and just click on Convert to Smart Object. Okay, now it's just a hair, right? Just a cover. Now let's go to Filter and then Liquify, and we're gonna adjust this. Zoom in and adjust it accordingly. So what do you want to see? Do you want to see a backdrop? You can just uncheck it if you want to, or you can check it and just choose background. That's what I want to see. I would adjust it from here, probably a little bit from there. Hit OK if you're satisfied. Okay, this looks all right. Now we need to adjust the skin tone. Have a look. The skin is a little brighter. That's no problem. Create a curves adjustment layer. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose curves. Now, whatever we do is going to affect everything, right? We want this to affect just the layer underneath it. So click on this layer. This creates a clipping mask. Look at this arrow. This means that whatever we do inside of the curves is only limited to just this layer, just this one beneath it. Now, click on the symbol to bring up the properties and just drag it down. See, suddenly it starts looking realistic. Now, there's one problem with this. And the only problem that I see with this one especially is that the white hair from the background is showing up. If we just turn the hair off, you will see the white hair is kind of too large. So how do we remove that? No problem at all. Here's what you do. First of all, make a copy of this. So with the background layer selected of the man, press Ctrl or Command J, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it Old Man Without Head. This is going to be interesting. So take the rectangular marquee tool or the lasso tool, whatever is your favorite, whatever you prefer. So I'm just going to go with the lasso tool and select the head. Just make sure all of it is selected, all of the white hair area. And I can subtract some of the areas. The closer you are, the better. All right. Some of you have already guessed what I'm going to do here. Okay. So now we need to fill it with that of the wall. How do we do that? Let's go to Edit and then Content Aware Fill. Now this feature is available only in the later versions of Photoshop and it looks like garbage. No problem at all. We want Photoshop only to sample from the wall area, nothing else. So first of all, we zoom out and then we just subtract the areas which are not the wall. And also we don't want his t-shirt right there, just the wall. Let's keep the rotation low. This is pretty acceptable. Once you're happy with this, just choose New Layer, hit OK. A new layer is created with that replacement. There was no need to create this copy right here, but I created it out of the habit of doing it with the earlier versions of Photoshop, because in the earlier version of Photoshop, there was no option to just have the content aware replaced area on a brand new layer. So if you are using an earlier version of Photoshop, you would have this selected and then you would have this copy selected. You would go to edit, fill, and then choose contents and then content aware, right? Only with the earlier versions of Photoshop. Let's press Ctrl or Command D and let's turn this on. Let's create a black mask. Hold the Alt key or the Option key, click on the mask button. What does that mean? Now the layer shows nowhere because all of the mask is black. It will only show up on areas which are white. Now let's turn on everything back. Okay, so now we want this replacement right here. So we will go back to this mask, take the brush, white as the foreground color, and then just paint. Boom. Removed. How easy was that? Now the other thing that can be done here, which I think should be, is that taking care of the halos. Have a look, there's a white line around it. No problem with that. So all we need to do is to create a brand new layer at the top, clip it as well by holding the Alt key or the Option key, click on the line between these two layers, and then simply take the clone stamp tool right there and take a sample by holding the Alt key or the Option key, click to take a sample, make sure that the sample is current and below, and just simply fill it. No problem at all. Now with single hair like this, you can also take the brush tool, take a sample, and then just paint over it. Now let's get back to the clone stamp tool. There we are. It looks okay. Now you can make as many little adjustments as you want, only make the skin a little darker. So let's create one more curves. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose curves again. We just want to limit it to this layer. So let's click on this button. And this time we are just adjusting the skin. So let's make it a little darker. Now the skin is matching, but we didn't want the hair to darken. So select the mask of the curves too. Press Ctrl or Command I to invert it. Now take the brush, again, white shows up and black hides. So with white as the foreground color, just paint over right here. See, it's matching even better. There we are. Done. Now you can get back to curves and make as many adjustments as you want, probably make it a little brighter, and then go back to this, make the skin a little darker, maybe change the color of the hair a little bit by creating one more adjustment layer using hue saturation and all of that. And this is how you make gray hair darker. This is my final result. I just tweaked the masks a little bit. For this tutorial, you, my friend, will be able to download the finished PSD, which is linked up in the description. And if you wish to download PSDs and assets for all other tutorials, please do consider supporting us on Patreon. All you need to keep in mind is to find an image with similar lighting condition and similar skin tone. That's it. Cut out the hair, paste it. Use Liquify to adjust the hair. And also sometimes there might be older hair coming out around the edges. Of course, because the new hair might not be big enough, or even if you make it big, there might be chances of older hair here and there flying. So all you have to do is to fill that area with content aware on a new layer. Make it headless and then create a negative mask out of this. So this was the replacement that we created, and with the help of masks, we used this to fill in the old hair. So without this, have a look. We just used the replacement to fill in the older hair. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe. Ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other future tips, tricks, or tutorials. Thank you so much for watching, and I would like to take this moment to thank all these nice and amazing people for supporting this channel on Patreon and helping keep Piximperfect free for everybody forever. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys again in my next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.